I want to talk to you today about escalation. When we say that an argument escalates, we mean that it intensifies and increases. And it usually happens when there's poor communication skills and a lot of emotional reactivity. Escalation is not good. It's not something that we want because it causes the conversation, conflict, argument to break down, and it is absolutely guaranteed that there will be no resolution. So what are some of the things that you do or other people do that can pretty much guarantee that a conflict intensifies? Well, the first one is to raise the volume of your voice. If you raise it and you start either yelling or it's louder or stronger or harsher, that is going to cause the other person to feel defensive. Now, I'm going to talk to you about why that happens. We have a part of our brain that is often referred to as the lower brain or the animal brain. That's the part of our brain that's kind of unconscious, and it's the one that's always scanning the environment to see if we're safe, to see if we're okay. So all of the things that are happening around us are coming in as sensations or our senses, what we're hearing, what we're seeing, what we're feeling, smelling, and that all of that stuff in our environment is coming into our lower brain, and our brain is processing it and deciding if it's something that is a danger. That's all happening while you're thinking about higher things, handling life, doing your job, talking. You're not thinking about that in that sense, but your brain is. And your brain is comparing that to old information. It's comparing it to times before and saying, is there a problem? Well, your brain decides if that's a problem before you do, and it causes you to go into what's called fight or flight. That happens automatically. So if you're having a discussion with somebody and the volume increases, and I'm going to tell you about some other things that do that, your autonomic nervous system is going to kick in that fight or flight, then you're automatically going to be geared up to fight. You're going to be geared up to defend, even if that's just emotionally to defend yourself or psychologically to defend yourself. This happens actually quicker in men than in women, studies show, but it happens to all of us. So escalation is a really kind of a complex thing when you think about how our body responds. And it's something, though, that we absolutely have to watch to ensure that it doesn't happen because it causes conflict to break down. So the first thing is raising the volume of your voice. The second thing is accusing and blaming the other person. If you accuse and blame, the other person is automatically going to get defensive. You do too when somebody accuses and blames you. Threatening to do or not do something. Threat is something that our brain processes as something that we need to protect ourselves against. A threat means danger or harm. So automatically you're going to be geared up to do something that you need to do to protect yourself, even if it's unconscious. Making black and white, all or nothing, right or wrong statements. Now, we do these without thinking often. Some people do them more than others. But when we say, you never, ever do that for me, you're never there for me, that's a wrong statement. I guarantee you that that person is going to be able to think of at least one time that he or she was there for you. Or if you say, you always say this, the person's going to come up with one time that it wasn't said. So always, never are never true, okay? So you've got to try to avoid those because the person is automatically going to jump to his or her own defense, and that's going to kind of derail the discussion. Using insults, low blows, and statements that are meant to cause hurt. When you say something to hurt somebody, the person feels hurt. When someone feels hurt, they defend, which means it escalates. So that's a self-protective, normal thing. Adopting a threatening physical stance or look. This one is going to kick in that whole fight or flight autonomic nervous system. If a person sees on your face a look that is threatening or angry, even if you say, I'm not angry, but your face looks angry, that person's brain, a lower brain, is going to react to saying, hey, this person is angry. That's not good. Or this reminds you of the fact that when you grew up, your father was angry your whole life, and now this person looks angry, and that's going to trigger all this past stuff from your father being angry, for example. Interrupting when the other person is talking. Interrupting causes somebody to feel kind of cornered, causes them to feel not heard. It causes people to feel like they have to talk louder, stronger, be pushier in order to get themselves heard. Caring only about your position and not listening to the other person. A conversation, a conflict involves two people. It's two ways. So if you've got something to say, listen to what the other person is saying and then wait your turn and say it. If you're dealing with somebody who talks for 2 hours without you being able to say anything, then you've got to resolve that issue in your relationship, because that's not going to work. That's not fair. That's too long. So escalation, just saying, I'm going to say what I have to say. I don't care about what you have to say. The other person is going to feel not heard, feel defensive, and automatically your discussion will escalate. So I've just told you all the things you and the other person can do to escalate a conversation or conflict. Now let's talk about what you can do to de-escalate or to increase the odds that your conversation or conflict will not escalate. And the first one is to talk in a normal voice. In fact, you might even want to talk in a softer voice so that it literally brings everybody down. You can talk. My mother was a first grade teacher, and my mother is a little lady, 5'3", and she has a very soft voice. And she used to tell me that she would talk quieter when her kids got out of hand in the classroom, because then they would quiet down to hear her. And the teachers that she could hear in the other rooms through the walls, when the kids got out of line, would begin to yell, and she would say, it just gets louder. And I think that's an interesting explanation of what you can do to get somebody to listen to you when it's starting to heat up. Lower your voice. Talk softer, talk slower, talk more in a gentle way versus an intense, fast, loud way. Use I statements that focus on your feelings and not the other person, not attacking. Instead of saying, you weren't there for me, you can say, I didn't feel that you were there for me. I didn't experience, or I didn't have the feeling that you cared. It felt to me like you didn't care. It felt to me that you were ignoring me. Instead of saying, you ignored me, you weren't there for me. As soon as you say you weren't, then you close the conversation, you're accusing the other person. The other person has to defend, and it's going to defend by arguing. You want a discussion. You want to increase understanding. You want to hear what the other person has to say. Saying, I don't feel you were there for me. I feel like you ignored me at that party last night or at that get-together, allows the other person to say, I didn't know you felt that way, or gosh, I was just busy talking to other people. I had so much on my mind. I was stressed. I hadn't seen them in a while. There was so much going on. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to ignore you. Versus having to defend, I didn't ignore you. I did pay attention to you. I did. What makes you think I can only pay attention to you? I've got other people to talk to. I hadn't seen my friends in a while. In other words, escalating. The one is don't make any threats. Don't make threats. Threats are not necessary. Setting boundaries is not a threat. I'm not willing to do that. I can't do that. It's not a threat. It's a statement. It's a boundary. I'm not going to do that for you if you do that. Said in that way sounds like a threat. I'm going to get back at you is a threat. I'm not going to let you forget that is a threat. So don't make threats. If you make a threat, the other person makes a threat, you're going to escalate. Keep your emotions and words under control. You've got to keep your words carefully selected to where you say what you need to say in the least offensive way as possible. And I will be making another video giving you the tips on how to do that. Keep your body language non-threatening. Again, that autonomic nervous system, fight or flight, is going to pick up on any cues that make your facial expression or your body doing this and in somebody's face and pointing your finger is all threatening body language, looking angry and having that tense body position. So make yourself relax. Engage in active listening to show that you truly care. Active listening means you are literally listening to the other person, not thinking about what you're going to say when the person stops talking, but active listening, thinking about what is the person saying from that person's perspective. If you want to do the whole active listening, you say back to the person, I heard you say that you felt ignored the other night at the party because you sensed that I was more focused on my conversations with other people. Is that correct? And the other person can say, yes, that's correct, or kind of, but I need to add this. And then you get to a point where you have what's called mutual understanding. And then the conversation switches, and it switches to the other person being able to explain what was going on with her. Okay, the next one is keep your focus on reaching a resolution, not on winning. 101 basic conflict resolution is you're not going to try to win, you're going to try to resolve. Resolve means that both people are heard, both people feel okay, both people agree or disagree, but agree to disagree. Both people feel that they have been heard and that there is a resolution. So it's not, I'm right, you're wrong. I'm going to tell you how wrong you are. It's literally getting mutual understanding. And that's the goal of conversation, is to get mutual understanding. Now, what do you do if you're dealing with somebody who doesn't use active listening, who doesn't have good communication skills, who is super emotionally reactive, and who does escalate? If that is the case, you're going to have to calm your own body down, make sure you're controlling yourself and you're not escalating it even further. Try to do the things that keep a conversation or conflict de-escalated. And then if it gets too intense, you simply have to say, I need to take a break from this until we calm down or until things have calmed down. And then I'm willing to get back together and continue discussing this with you. Let the person know that you're going to continue discussing in the future so the person doesn't feel that you're just shutting him out and walking away and not caring. So that's how you de-escalate. There's all kinds of scriptures that talk about that, but these are my favorites. And this is one you know, Proverbs 15:1. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. So a gentle answer calms things down, de-escalates, but a harsh word more is going to escalate even further. Proverbs 18:13 says, he who gives an answer before he hears, it is folly and shame to him. Okay, so if you aren't active listening, it's a bad reflection on you. Next one, Proverbs 17:27, the one who has knowledge uses words with restraint, and whoever has understanding is even-tempered. So regardless of what the other person is doing, it's your responsibility to make sure you don't escalate by you choosing wrong words. Uses words with restraint, has understanding, means you will be even-tempered. Last one, Proverbs 29:11, fools give full vent to their rage. Fools give full vent to their rage, but the wise bring calm in the end. So imagine the other person is escalating, but if you're wise, you will bring calm in the end. So I hope this video has helped you on from Change My Relationship, and I hope that you'll come back and watch more. Thank you.